Good afternoon, everybody.
Small business sorted.
Small business sorted, yes. So, Kay, what are we doing this afternoon?
We're talking to Jim Kelly and we're talking to Giles Smith, and they are both at the moment currently working with Hire A Hubby.
Great.
Hire A Hubby is a franchise organisation, and I'm sure they'll tell you more about what Hire A Hubby is, because the name is a little bit, what's the word? Doesn't really say what they do.
No, it doesn't.
You could interpret it in many
Hire
different
A Hubby
ways.
Handyman. Property maintenance, I think they call it.
Yeah. So I'm going to just give a little short introduction to these boys.
Yes, please.
If I'm allowed to call them boys.
Yes, definitely.
I'm going to start with Jim. So Jim Kelly is an experienced business owner with more than 30 years in franchising, customer service and business operations. Jim began his business career operating service stations, where he built successful teams and developed a strong reputation for customer service and operational excellence. Before leaving the industry in 2007, his business was recognised with a Franchisee or a Franchise of the Year award. Well done, Jim. Jim then moved into the home improvement industry with Hire A Hubby, where he has built two highly successful franchises across Sydney's northern beaches, Hire A Hubby Vale and Hire A Hubby Balgowlah. Supported by 2 administration staff and a skilled team of tradespeople, Jim's businesses now generate approximately 1.2 million in annual sales. His achievements within Hire A Hubby include being named as Franchisee of the Year in both 2017 and 2018, along with receiving several New South Wales Franchisee awards and recognition as Most Valuable Franchisee. So that's probably enough about Jim.
That'll do. I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted as well. Giles has written even more.
What? Can't be.
Did you write yours, Jim, or did Crystal write it for you?
Maybe Crystal.
Maybe Crystal wrote it for you. That's cheating.
It's actually on your flyer that you give to the clients.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, so Giles, as I've just found out, grew up in Cornwall in the UK and started his career as a geologist before moving into the world of digital business in London. In 2002, tired of the English weather, I can definitely appreciate why you did that, he made the move to Sydney. After a stint in door-to-door sales, Giles worked his way into project management and eventually became CIO of a software company. What is CIO?
Chief Information Officer.
Oh, okay, sorry. In 2014, he left the corporate world to pursue a more entrepreneurial path. Since then, he's explored a rather eclectic mix of ventures, from writing a children's book and building several e-commerce brands to running a digital media agency before ultimately buying a Hire A Hubby franchise and becoming one of the most highly Google-rated handymen on the beaches. So I think I'll leave it there. I'll let Giles tell you more about him, and Jim about him as well.
Yeah,
and
great introductions.
How they got into franchising.
Hire A Hubby, yeah. So how did you guys all start, Giles? Why don't we start with you? So how did you get into Hire A Hubby? What was the story there?
Yeah, I mean, the story goes back probably to when I was 16, if I'm honest, because my dad and I grew up on a farm in Cornwall, and my dad and I pretty much built our house from scratch, turned from a shed into a 4-bedroom place to live for the family home. And so my formative years were spent, trying to dodge school as much as possible and coming home and actually having fun doing things with my dad. Back in those days, I don't even know. I don't think I ever asked if there were any certifications requirements, but we did everything, being farmers. So it kind of started there. And then over the years, my wife and I have fixed and flipped multiple properties, and I've always done all of the work. But then that kind of took a back step about, 15 years ago or so, where sort of corporate life took over, and I started hiring other people to do things around the house because I just didn't have time. And then as an entrepreneur, I was focused on other things. And so my last venture was quite honestly a disaster. It was sort of a branding agency, which just really the time wasn't right and the place wasn't right. And my heart wasn't in it either. And after about 1.5 years of doing that, my wife turned to me and said, it's time you did something you actually really love for a change. You just turned 50. You've earned it. You deserve to do something that gets you up and gets you excited in the morning. Why don't you have a think about what that is? Because you're clearly miserable doing this. And I was really unhappy doing it. And so that took me on a path. And eventually it was once again my wife that sort of said, well, you love doing stuff around the house. You've always loved it. You live for the weekends so you can do things. Why don't you go and be a handyman? And I said, well, can I do that? I don't. Maybe I can. Maybe I can't. I don't know. Anyway, fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'd done some research, and there was a handyman franchise for sale in the Northern Beaches, and within really 2 or 3 weeks, I was a handyman. Just made the decision that quickly, and it's felt right ever since. And it has to be said that even though it took me 50 years to figure out what I really was supposed to do, this is it, and it changes your life when you find something you really love. It makes a big difference.
When you really, really love it.
Yeah.
Which franchise area are you?
Forestville.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Forestville, Killarney, Roseville Chase.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just before we go to Jim, can I just ask you, so you found Hire A Hubby and you bought it. How did you find Hire A Hubby before you bought it? Like what was that journey?
Yeah, so I think back at some point in the distant past, we might have had a Hire A Hubby come and do something for us. It might even have been Jim. Who knows? I don't think it was though.
Dave, probably.
I've no idea who it was. Anyway, so we sort of were aware of the brand, but not really hadn't had that much experience with it. But it was really Google searches and looking for handyman businesses for sale, and Hire A Hubby just kept coming up on the list of opportunities, and so. Yeah, made the phone call, and turned out it was pretty much there on my doorstep, so worked well.
So you live in the area that you bought?
No, I don't actually. I live just around the corner from here in Elnora, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting. That's great.
Did you already have clients, or did you have to build up the whole? Did you buy it from somebody else who already had clients?
Yeah, look, and I think that's an interesting question because, for me, I wanted to know what I was buying. And so... when there's two ways to get into franchising. The first one is to buy essentially a greenfield, right? And it's you essentially buy the license to operate somewhere or something, and that's okay. It's probably going to be less cost outlay than buying an ongoing business, but you don't really know whether it's going to work because there's nobody there doing it. For me, I wanted to walk into something I knew had an existing list of customers and had ongoing immediate cash flow opportunities. And that's really what I wanted. And, Dave, who I bought it off, had, 600 or 700 customers on his customer list. And I could see that the repeat business is very strong. And so for me, it was, even though it was more cash to get in, it was much less risk.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why he sold?
Yeah, he wanted to retire. Okay. Didn't work well for him because I now hire him as one of my team members.
It was part-time and then it's like nearly full-time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, funny. So, Jimmy, what is your story?
My story is got out of the petrol or service station game, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was out in the surf one day, and a mate of mine paddled over to me, and he goes, and they used to call me Jim from the servo. He goes, Jim from the servo, what are you? I said, I heard you're not doing the service station anymore. And I said, yeah. And I said, he goes, what are you up to? And I said, not much at the moment. And he goes, I've got a handyman business. Do you want to give me a hand? And I said, mate, I'm not that handy. And he goes, no. He goes, I'll show you. So I end up working with this fella, and I thought, geez, this is really good. And I'm a bit of a sponge. I picked things up pretty quickly, and I was actually enjoying it. So I actually went to the information night. I'd seen the Hire A Hubby thing, went there, went for the interview, and all looked good. And then they brought out the questionnaire, and there was a long list of stuff. Have you ever laid bricks before? And I was as honest as the day is long. Everything that I couldn't do, I assumed if I ticked it, they would go, come on, just lay a few bricks for us then. And so have you ever done gyp rocking? And I go, no. And the list went on, and I just went. And the guy goes, mate, your business side is perfect for the franchise, but your skill levels aren't they crash hot. They said you should learn a bit more on the skills side. So I ended up working with Dave Cook from Hire A Hubby Manly. Okay. And I had so much, it was so good because he was such an experienced handyman or tradesman, and I just learned so much from him. So, and then while I was with him, I was sitting having smoko, and the guy, I was reading the Manly Daily.
You didn't smoke, did you, Jim?
No, not smoko.
Somebody else was
Smoko is when you're eating.
It's your morning tea.
Oh, is it?
It's the
Okay,
trade,
so I-
it's the
I
tradie way of
associate
saying
it.
morning
Sorry.
tea.
Sorry.
That's tradie talk. Yeah, sorry. Having smoko. There's a good song on that. I don't know if you've heard it. But anyway, anyway, I was reading the Manly Daily, and there was a guy selling the Narrabeen franchise.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying it, and Dave was very upset. He wanted me to stay, but I ended up buying it.
Yeah, tell them the story around that.
Yeah, he said, no, don't do it, because he really enjoyed working with me. I enjoy working with him. And eventually he goes, no, he said, don't, I'll buy it, and then you can run it. I told that to Crystal, and she just went, no way, we're buying it. So we end up buying it, and off I went.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And who was that you bought that from again? That was Jerry?
Jerry, yeah.
He's still on the beaches too.
Yeah,
isn't
he ended up opening up a kitchen place. Yeah, so there wasn't really much to buy. Like he loved the cashies and all that sort of thing. So
No, I've told Crystal a million times that I don't like that word. I don't like that topic. As a bookkeeper, that is something that...
Oh, it's a killer in
Although
the
I
business.
actually-
But he had nothing to show for his business. That's
well, he wouldn't have if he took
he was
it
a
all in
great
cash.
tradesman.
Yeah, he was a good tradesman. He's still good. We saw him the other day at BNI through the accountant that's in our chapter.
Okay.
He looks after him. So he brought him in as a visitor, which was really nice to see Jerry again.
Yeah.
So then what happened after that, Jimmy? So then you took it over?
Yeah, I took it over, and it was quite funny. My very first customer, the phone rings, and I go, here comes a customer. I answered it. All right, Jim from Hire A Hubby, and she goes, where's Jerry? And I said, I bought the business off him. And she goes, have you got Jerry's number? And I said, no, I don't. So I said, and she really wanted to find him. And I said to her, why don't you give me a go? And if I'm not as good as Jerry, I'll give you Jerry's number. And she goes, okay.
That was good.
So I went to the job, did the job, and she goes, actually, you're better than Jerry. So she ended up being one of my longest serving customers, and she was my first one. So still see her now. So she's great.
So Giles, did you find it difficult with those first few customers, just getting into the,
Well, it's an odd transition from doing it for yourself to doing it for other people. There's a huge mindset gap between those two things.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's kind of scary to start with. Oh my God,
Sleepless nights.
Yeah, well, I mean that can be a thing.
fake it till you make it?
The truth is, in the handyman game, we get asked to do all sorts of such a variety of things, such a huge variety of things, and there's 8 billion products, and 8,000 different things you could do around the house. And so, one of the things that I realized that I could rely on really quickly was problem solving. Very good problem solver. And you kind of have, and what Jimmy said is right as well. You've got to be a sponge for learning new things, just being able to pick things up, because the truth is, no matter how long you've been doing this, I'm sure you still find the same after this long, Jim, that you come across stuff you've never seen before or never done before, and you find a way to get it done and to a really high standard, because certainly if you do, if you care. And I think that's a really interesting sort of trait amongst handymen in general, is that they have to be really fantastic problem solvers. Yeah,
and you don't give up. You got to find that solution, and that's the great thing about the franchise as well. You can actually ring around and say, have you done this before? And they go, yeah, I've done that. You get this certain product from this, hardware store. And so you're using other people within your group that can help you out as well.
Yeah.
Because they've probably gone through it before, scratching their head. How am I going to do it?
What did, Jim, I remember that story from, who was the guru in Hire A Hubby at the time?
Bruce.
Bruce. Do you want to tell the story about Bruce?
Bruce, yeah. He was, when I first started, I called him the guru because he knew everything. So any problem, I would ring and go, Bruce.
What territory did he have again?
He had Vale, which I've got now. So
That's right.
I was in Narrabeen, he was in Vale, and I would ring him constantly, go, Bruce, I've got this problem. And he'd say, he was like one of these Buddhas, he'd go, Jim, look at the problem and the answer will come. I go, mate, I'm looking, it's not coming. So he goes, I'll be around in 5 minutes. And he'd show me, go, oh, that's how you do it. So I tried to pay him, but he wouldn't take money. But he was such a great guy. And he ended up working for me as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so.
Do you find that's one of the main advantages of being in a franchise? The fact that you can ask other franchisees how to do things, what they've done, or even talk to them about franchisors or whatever.
It's certainly a benefit. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of the main benefits, but it's having the network. And I'm not sure how other franchise chains work, so I can't really comment more broadly. But certainly inside Hire A Hubby, we've got sort of like a Facebook page that we can all talk to each other on, and chat groups and things. And like Jim said, there's always someone to reach out to if you don't know where to get such and such a product, or you're not entirely sure how to approach a certain particular thing. So that so the wealth of knowledge that's inside the network is enormous, and that's definitely truly it's a sales factor when it comes to offering customers the service, because an independent little handyman that's out there that's just them on their own only has themselves to ask and to refer to, and we've got a huge network around Australia of people.
Yep. So you've been franchisee of the year twice, 3 times?
No, twice.
Twice. Yeah. Okay. Have you been franchisee of the year?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have been nominated.
Hopefully this year.
Let's see.
Giles, you won something, didn't you? Once was it a couple
Larrikin Award. I don't know. So.
Well, you never know your luck.
You never know your luck.
Jimmy, that often in businesses you have that where both of you, you know how you have that stop and go. So you kind of doing really well, and your business is growing really well, and you kind of all just doing the work, and then you forget to market your business, and then you kind of find that it drops down a bit, and then you start marketing again, and then you go again. How have you handled that? How did you guys both handle that cycle and get yourselves out of those cycles? And then, or are you still in that cycle?
I think you're always sort of in and out of that cycle, but the thing is with me, I found if you do a good job, you turn up on time, you do a good job, good customer service, you'll always have work and people will refer. But the hardest part is when you're doing a really good job and you get too busy, and then you start letting people down. You need to know when to put your first fellow worker to help you. And once you get your head around that, then it gives you time to do all the stuff you're supposed to be doing. Because if you're by yourself and you're really busy, you tend to drop the ball on, you don't get the quotes in on time, you forget to ring customers back. So all that sort of stuff happens when you're really busy. And it does happen to majority of franchisees when they start.
Probably the majority of trades, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you have an admin person, Giles?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. I know you do.
So,
Jim.
Giles, how do you help that stop and go sort of cycle?
Yeah, I think what Jim said is exactly right. I mean, I have experienced it multiple times. It's, I don't think I could have said that better. It's you get busy, and so you stop hunting for work, and you stop, crossing the T's and dotting the I's on things that you would normally do to close off leads that come in, because you're so overwhelmed with it at certain times of the year, and then it just gets quiet, and then of course you're chasing your tail and worrying about whether you've got enough work over the week after next for to fill the team. So it's actually a genuinely hard thing, and I think it might be, together with finding really good team members, I think it might be the hardest thing to manage in our business, because on the whole, managing having run businesses that are not franchises and done some startups in our time, it's by far the easiest way to have a business. Having a franchise, it's pretty much there for you on a plate. But still, the key thing is managing that sort of, not quite boom and bust, but the cyclicity of the year in particular. And then having good staff that you can rely on to actually do the work, to a very, very high standard. Because I couldn't agree more, Jim, that, like, you look after your customers, you do a good job every time, you communicate well, you do all the basic things that you think are just absolute no-brainers, and yet other people don't seem to somehow. You do all that and you will get that business. But those people will come back and use you again and again and again. So yeah, it's I don't know. I really have an answer for that one if I'm
Yeah.
honest, because it's tough. It's really tough.
If you did have an answer, what would that be?
I wonder if, getting to a scale where you can have somebody that has that constant lead generation as their focus,
Yeah.
whether it's yourself or someone else in the business, is the right way to go, because then you by design have the time in the day allocated to chasing all those things down, as well as other marketing things that you could be doing, because there's always more, right? I mean, truthfully, since the day I took over, I've done very little marketing.
Yeah.
Again, one of the benefits of being in a well-known brand franchise, for sure. I've really focused on delivering great service, but there are so many more opportunities to get more work in the door that I haven't taken. And once again, because it's always, I start doing that maybe a little bit, and then I'm suddenly really busy.
Yeah.
And that's the worst time, because then you don't have time to go and look for somebody that you need to help you.
You got time for nothing, right?
You've got time for nothing.
Yeah.
And then, so you let all those things drop, and suddenly it's getting quiet again. And yeah, it is a really tough. I wish there was an answer to that.
Yeah.
I wish there was a silver bullet to kill that one off.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? If you knew the answer to that, what would you do?
It's quite funny. Like sometimes I'll go to a job or a quote, and you bang on time, and you turn up, and they open up the door and they go, "Oh my God, you're here! Like, you're on time." They are blown away, and I'm going, "Well, that's what we do," So, well, and even if they want to get 2 or 3 quotes, I know that we'll turn up on time. We'll get the quote in within 24 hours. They may be still waiting for a guy that doesn't even show, or if he does show, he doesn't put the quote in, and that's our competitors. So if we keep on doing all those little areas, we'll always have the work, and always, keeping customers happy. That's a secret, I think.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that, actually, because I had an exact example of that yesterday morning. Went to a customer's house, and she'd asked my assistant to send her a reminder of when I was coming. And customers don't normally do that. So I thought, okay, that's odd, or interesting at least. And so, turned up, and it was my first site visit of the day. So, I do all my site visits in the morning, generally speaking, because then I can be on time and I'm not covered in God knows what, having worked all day. So, presentable. Walk in the door, and she's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for turning up." I'm like, "Really?" No worries, my pleasure. And you were on time, and everything. Anyway, we walked around the house, and she told me all these things. And she was like, "I can't tell you how many people I've tried to get to come and do work for me. And you're the first person in a while that actually, returns the phone call." Oh, and I texted her on the way to say, I'll be there in 10 minutes. She's saying just the confidence that gave me that you'd actually be here. And of course, luckily enough, got the quote, and we're working for her now. But it's sometimes it's the simple things.
Yeah.
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 You had that experience, haven't
Yeah,
you? Did they ever send the quotes in?
No.
Tell the story.
We wanted both of our decks done, and we had 2 people come to give us quotes. It must have been a month or so ago now, 5 or 6 weeks ago. But they never sent us, neither of them sent us a quote. So,
Or contacted you.
or contacted us or did anything.
There might be some people in the room that can help.
Well, no, it's all right. We contacted this company. I don't know if you've heard of them. Hire A Hubby. Hire A Hubby, Mona Vale. And they've actually almost completed doing both decks today.
Wow,
So,
Hire A Hubby Mona Vale have.
yes,
You went with
and
that
they
crowd.
showed up on time. The
Wow.
quote came within 24 hours. And
You got to back it up.
The only thing I have to complain about is our house has been turned upside down because we have all the outside furniture in the
have to put it somewhere.
in the living room. And the cat nearly ended up swinging from the fan because he could get onto the chairs. But no, they've done a great job.
God.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Could
mate.
have toppled everything over.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting, isn't it? And you're listening to Kay and Crystal on Small Business Sorted, and we're actually talking with Jim Kelly and Giles Smith from Hire A Hubby franchises on the Northern Beaches, our local area, and they're just sharing their story of how they got in and what's been happening to them and why a franchise, why did they buy into it? And we are talking about the 3 industry complaints. What do you think your 3 industry complaints are for the handyman industry?
I can tell you that one. It's definitely turning up on time or ringing if you're going to be running late, which
Yep.
we just talked about. Doing a good job and being proud of doing a good job. And the big one is cleaning up.
Cleaning up.
Yeah, cleaning up.
If you can do the best job in the world, I always find if you turn up late and do the best job in the world, they'll remember that you turn up late.
Yeah.
Other one is you do the best job in the world and you don't clean up, they'll be going, oh my God, they didn't even clean up. So it's those three things. If you do them, then you will always have a happy customer. And obviously good customer service and
sending the quote in, I think, as well would probably help. What would you like to add, Giles?
Yeah, so all of that's bang on, and there's just no excuse not for tidying up. So you can never, sometimes things happen and you're running late, and that's how life is. But yeah, I think the only other thing to add to that is communication.
Yeah,
Because people understand if you're running an hour late. I'd rather have a conversation with someone that says, I'm sorry, I'm running an hour late. I'm just finishing off a job and just making sure it's perfect. I'll be with you as soon as I can. I'd rather have that conversation than have the conversation with the past customer, say, I'm sorry, I've got to leave now. The job's not finished, but I've got to get to the next one.
yeah.
So, and I think people understand that and appreciate the fact that you're committed. Once you're in the door, you're committed to getting that job done to a high standard. But as long as you, like I said, as long as you talk to people, I think they're pretty much generally understanding about what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And even if you do ring them, and you don't ring them on the dot when you're supposed to be there, an hour out before, you go, look, at 10:30 and the job's at 11:30, you go, look, I'm really battling up. I'm just got to finish this up. I'm probably going to be about half an hour late. And they say, oh, great, I'll just go they can utilise that time. They can maybe go walk the dog or go to the shops and do something instead of standing there looking at the clock waiting for us. So you're just giving them that option. Or they may say, look, I've took time off work. I'm going to have to go back to work. We'll have to reschedule. So it's instead of just assuming that they're okay that you walk in the door an hour or half an hour late.
Interesting. The other question that I had was staff. So how do you manage, how do you go around hiring your staff, or how do you manage your staff? Like, are they a big part of your business?
Giles?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think they're a critical part of the business, and finding the right people is probably one of the greatest challenges you face in business in general, especially in service businesses. I remember an old mentor years and years ago telling me that business growth is really about getting the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus.
That's good.
I like that too.
Because hiring good people. Sorry, Jim.
Can I steal that one?
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to remember that one.
But the latter part's harder, right? So hiring good people is obvious.
Yes.
Everybody wants to hire good people, but it's much harder to get bad people out of the business, and yet it's just as important.
Yeah.
So I learned that lesson years ago, and I continue to be focused on that, which is why you've got to hire really carefully, because actually getting rid of people that are not working well is really painful.
Yeah,
It's emotionally draining.
It's so emotionally draining, yeah. And how did you do that? How do you get bad people out? What do you do?
Well, so I think that the probation period is there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's there. It's your great friend in terms of really assessing whether someone can walk the talk as well as everything else. So because in the handyman space, like we've literally just finished saying, it's not just about doing a great job. That's really important. There are lots of people who are technically good tradespeople out there who can do the work. But can they take responsibility for communicating with their customers?
Yes.
Do they? Goodness me. Do they clean up afterwards? Do they, like, one of the things I say to my guys all the time is that we're here to solve people's problems, not create other ones. So if you don't clear up properly, or if you leave pencil marks on things, or if you spray things you shouldn't have done when you're spraying a wall, or if you do whatever that's creating problems, you're really not serving the brand properly, and you're not serving the customer properly, because we're there to remove headaches, not create new ones.
Yeah.
So knowing that and watching for that in the probation period is really critical, is to look for a really great rounded team member. And because you can only really tell, as much as people talk about how good they are, and you can sort of take them on trial days and whatnot, and which end of a drill's which, that's great.
Yeah.
you can't really tell whether they're going to be great for your brand
Yeah.
until months have gone past and you've had several conversations aligning people, because you can't necessarily expect them to understand your expectations either. You know, no one's ever going to care about your business as much as you do.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can't expect employees to do that, but equally you can't, you know, even if they've been their own handyman operator, you can't necessarily expect that they're going to have your standards at heart.
How many staff do you have now, Giles?
Currently, I'm back down to one.
One, okay.
Yeah.
And you, Jimmy, how many staff? How did you first start with getting staff?
I got 5 at the moment, but my very first one, I shared a staff with another franchisee, and he had him 3 days, I had him 2 days, so I could dip the toe in the water. It was the first time I ever had staff, and I just went, oh, this is great. So I'd book him out 2 days, and it was like a set 2 days, and then I'd do my thing. So it was a really good way to virtually trial having staff. So, and then once I started getting busy, and the guy that I was sharing with, the staff member, he was getting busy, and there was a few times where he says, oh, you can't have the staff member. And I said, mate, I've already booked them out. And he goes, well, why don't you get your own staff member? And I went, I will. So then I got my first staff member. So it was a great way for him to push me into get my full-time.
Was that another franchisee, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I won't mention names. But, he's a good mate of mine. But so that was a really good way for me to test the waters. And then once I got my first 5-dayer, then I just thought, oh, and he was a great guy, and me and him got on really well, and we just sort of kicked it out of the park, and then eventually it went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
And how do you manage just to finish up on the staff? How do you manage bad staff out of your business, or staff that perhaps aren't the right fit for your business?
That's probably the hardest part of what I do, is because I'm a people person, so I always
like to be liked.
I like to be liked.
That's my thing.
Yeah. So for me to get someone that doesn't like me, I'm like, oh God, this is hard. So, but I've definitely got a lot better at it. I feel if they're not doing the right thing by us and they don't care what we're trying to build or do, then I have got a hell of a lot better to say, like, mate, it's not working out. So
yeah.
But I do give probably too many chances. So I can sort of like procrastinate, but you just got to pull the Band-Aid off and
how many chances is too many, Jimmy? What do you reckon? Sorry for that living here. But I thought that was interesting.
3 or 4 times. You know, like it can go on to be a few things, and I'm just like, you pull them in the office and what's going on, and then they do it again. So and then when you're super busy, you know, like you make up excuses to keep them, which is the worst thing to do. Whereas now I've got a great team, and we just, I'm pretty well, you know, if they're not doing the right thing, then you pull them in the office.
Do you do it like, how quickly do you do it? Do you still give them 3 or 4 chances, or how do you do that?
Not as many, no. So you got to have warnings and all that sort of stuff in place. And sometimes they may be doing something, and there's other factors when you pull them in the office. There may be personal issues at home or whatever, and that's affecting their work. So it's really good to get them in the office and go, right, what's going on? You're not normally like this, and sometimes there's an underlying, whereas sometimes they're just lazy bastards.
They want a long weekend or something like that.
Can I ask you both? Maybe I shouldn't ask this question, but have you had any holy shit moments where something's gone terribly wrong? And how have you rectified the situation with the client? And I know, Jim, you've told me about
the Bentnell Award.
I can't remember what it was, but I know there was something. And I know you probably don't want to talk about things like that, but
no, I can jump in if you want.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, you know, I have no embarrassment about this, because the truth is that, you know, it's a human-driven business, and humans make mistakes, and quite often, you know, unlike building something from scratch where you can predict how things are going to go, we're dealing with old properties, and there's stuff that we don't expect that just crops up sometimes. So I had a case in January. Well, it sort of happened in December, but it was in January when I had one of my team spray painting a wall. Sort of alluded to this earlier. And, I at the start of the job, I showed them through the job and what we needed to do. And I took a whole bunch of spray sheets, drop sheets with me to give them, and sort of explained how I wanted everything set out. And, did a terrific job of spraying the wall. Also did a terrific job of spraying their neighbour's house.
Oh, no. Oh,
because
dear.
they didn't use the drop sheets I gave them.
Oh.
And so, anyway, short story, plenty of other trades might have been very hard to contact at that point. I was straight around there as soon as the customer told me. They called me in the evening. Actually, they called me, funnily enough, it was several weeks later that they got told because their owners sort of found out. Sorry, neighbours found out. Anyway, so I was right there around there the next morning. And unfortunately, at that point, it was a case of, well, the paint's well and truly dried on now. It's the sort of hot summer months and we're not getting this off.
Yep.
So anyway, we ended up repainting a whole bunch of stuff. I ended up replacing a hot water heater that was, that Reem had said, well, this might be voiding a warranty now. So we did all the right things to make sure that that person was looked after, and that was in a prep for sale job. That the customer who paid us to do the work on their own place, just recently hired us back because of the way that we handled that and made sure that the customer was looked after. So this is for me. I have no embarrassment with that because it was just one of those things that is okay. All right, that happened, but how do we deal with it? How do we make sure that nobody's inconvenienced by this? How do we make sure that the customer's looked after and that their neighbour is looked after so that they don't lose face as well? And that's the way we handled it.
Yeah. I think yours was a carpet, was it, Jim?
No, mine is, I might tell a different one. I think with warranties, well, that's what we call them, warranties. Yeah, if you deal with it straight away and not let it linger, I think that's the biggest, because as Giles said, we're all human. The guys do make mistakes every now and then, hopefully not too many, but it's how you deal with it. And if you deal with it straight away, majority of the time, they'll be so pleased that you've come back and fixed it. So we had an issue where I bought a bank of letterboxes for a strata job and gave them the drawings, got signed off, everything was hunky-dory, ordered the letterboxes, and when you say a bank, it was like 20 letterboxes, 10 at the bottom, 10 at the top, fitted on top of the brickwork, took the old one away, doing the last screw down, and the old lady comes out and she goes, "That's the wrong letterboxes." And I said, "What do you mean?" And I thought she was just a bit Looney Tune, and she goes, "No, we want bigger ones, bigger letterboxes." And I said, "Oh, well, the strata signed it all off, that we had drawings on it." Anyway, they went all the way up the scale, the committee, and then the strata were having issues with block, and they end up saying they were going to leave the strata because of the letterboxes and go to another strata. So I said to our strata manager, "We'll change those letterboxes." So I had to buy brand new bank of letterboxes, bigger ones, take the old ones off, fix it on, and I made the strata manager say that he told me to do it. So I made the strata look good, and to this day we've still got those users. I had the letterboxes in my shed, and I was told one day someone will order, there'll be a block of units, 20 units, and they'll
maybe somebody
give 'em a
listening.
bug.
Maybe somebody listening to the show.
Yeah, if you got 20 units, give me a call. Half price letterbox.
So, the biggest misconception about handymen, I guess, would be the
Handy persons.
handy
I don't know,
people.
what we're allowed
That's
to say.
handy people. Yes.
Yeah.
So that people have out there. So what do they think that is totally wrong?
Okay. So I think being relatively new to this space, I'm on my 4th year now. I think the thing that stands out is that people have this perception of a handyman being, essentially a retired old fella who's sort of sitting around.
Retired old fart.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, sitting around in his shed turning wood, waiting for maybe a phone, maybe what might ring to come and fix a cracked tile or something, and then off they go. And maybe there are people like that, but I don't know any. All of the people that I know, not just in Hire A Hubby, but all the other handyman businesses, none of them are like that. So what's the implication of that? Well, the implication of that is that we're not sitting around waiting for your call. We hope you'll call, obviously, and we'd love to help you. But if you sort of expect, and this is particularly true with this time of year as we lead up to Christmas.
Oh, Christmas.
If you're
yes.
thinking of doing something around the house, don't wait until December to get it done because we are busy. I'm usually booked up 6 to 8 weeks by that point.
Yep.
So
You mean we have to think in advance?
think in advance, absolutely. If you're, and the truth is, if you can find somebody at that time of year that can do it for you tomorrow, they're probably not very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some horror stories out there.
Truly.
Or you see you see horror stories, right? When you go there and fix something that somebody else did.
Would I?
No, you do, don't
Oh
you?
yeah. I regularly get called to fix something other people have done.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen some of the photos I've shown you of the awful things I walk into.
Yeah.
And you just go, how did you even? And I think the key thing is there that, once again, obviously mistakes can get made. So who knows what the backstory was? But the key thing is people don't seem to care. So and that's the thing that sticks with me is that, when something goes wrong as a tradie, you fix it.
Yeah.
You don't just leave it like that and run away. And yet I've seen people do that. And people said, oh, yeah, so the handyman I had before came and did this. We're not very happy, but we couldn't get hold of him to come and fix it.
Oh, God.
And you think, wow. Yeah.
And worse, sometimes that you go there and they say, I rang them, and then they block your number. So
Yeah,
then
right.
they've got and then they, at least with the Hire A Hubby franchise, you've got not only us to call back, but you got people above us,
Yeah,
like
that's right.
The head office.
state managers. You got head office. You've got that comfort that if something does go wrong and the franchisee, God forbid, doesn't want to go back, which we would never do, but if they say no, not going back, they can go somewhere higher.
Yeah.
Whereas Airtask or whatever, they can just block your number and see you later.
Have you come across any real scallywags out there?
Yeah, they're out there.
What, as a customer or as a trade?
Trades.
Oh, there's plenty.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever report them if it comes to that? Or
No, we can't really do much about it, but we're just there to fix what these people have done. And I know this saying is that a poor man or poor woman pays twice because they always go for the cheapest quote, and then we come in and fix it up. So you end up paying twice. So the cheapest quote is not always the right thing to do.
No.
Yeah.
Sounds like bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping, I would say.
Bookkeepers having to fix other bookkeepers.
I think it's in every
Issues.
industry, It's just, but you do see it a lot.
Yep.
So what mistakes have taught you the most about your business?
I'll come back to that thing again around, human error and what it means, because, mistakes happen. Okay. You move on and you fix it. But if mistakes keep happening, even if they're not exactly the same mistake, you've got to ask questions around how much someone cares and how much, whether they're really right and aligned with the service levels that you want to deliver. And I think that's true in every single business. It's not just a handyman thing. It's not just a trade thing. It can be anything.
Yeah.
So for me, it is having the guts as the business owner to pull people aside and say, look, this isn't good enough. I'm expecting you to do this, this, and this. And, if you get stuck, give me a call. I'm always here to help, but don't just walk away.
Are there any jobs that you said no to?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Heaps of jobs. Yeah. I mean,
how do people react when you say no? I suppose
the question is how you say no.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's jobs that I'm not certified to do, right? So obviously electrics, plumbing, structural work, you name it. There's lots of things that we're not, waterproofing, blah blah blah. There's lots of things that I'm not certified to do, and of course I'm not going to go and do that, even though there's money on the table.
Yeah.
But instead of saying sorry, can't help you, and walking out the door, I'll find someone that can help them.
Yep.
That's one of the things that, in B&I is fantastic for that, because we've got a great network of people that we can refer to. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And generally speaking, having in the trade, we know a lot of people, and we get to rub shoulders with a lot of good people and not so good people, and we know the ones that are good. So I always say, if you're not sure, call a Hire A Hubby first. Because if we can't do it, we'll find someone that can for you. So you'll end up getting a good solution, and it might not be us that does it.
Are there any jobs that are too small?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because those little small jobs
Lead to big jobs, I guess.
Could lead to big jobs.
Always.
Could be even just fixing a door handle. So
Yeah.
we would never knock back small job because you never know where it's going to lead.
No.
But my biggest learning, I feel, is that quoting for me is something that you got to back yourself. So the learning is that at the start when you're quoting, you probably underquote and you do the job and you go, oh, what was I thinking? Like 4 hours and you're there all day or something like that. So, but as long as you learn from that 4-hour job that you quoted that took 8 hours, the next time it comes around, you better remember it's 8 hours, not 4 hours. So it's
I'm really bad at that, Jimmy. I really need to take a leaf out of your book.
yeah. Keep learning, and I've learned, and especially if you've got staff, if you underquote, you put pressure on them, and then they end up doing a bad job. So if you get it right and you do a good job, then that's how you grow your business.
Interesting, isn't it? That's doing the thing. Was there a moment in your business that changed everything? Like, was there like a big aha moment that you just went, well, okay, now I got it? Because it's a lot to learn and take in, isn't it, in your business?
Yeah, I think you got to monitor your staff, that you pay them their 8 hours, but your aim game is to get 8 billable hours from them.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but we've got that under control. So because if you pay them 8 hours and then they only do 6, that's 2 hours that you got to cop. You pay them, but you're not, and so you're going backwards. So it's a big thing for us the guys, and paying the guys on time and giving them good conditions, but they gotta make sure we get the jobs done and not go, oh, I didn't finish that job, got to go back tomorrow. That's the communication thing as well.
There's that friction, isn't there, between the billable hours and their hours, and the friction between getting the job done fast but getting it done well and getting the job finished in the time that's been allocated. And there's that lovely friction in business where in order to make money, you have to balance that really well. Because if you let one go either to the left or to the right, you can end up losing a lot of money too, right? Yeah. So it's that friction that we need, and all businesses need a friction like that, I feel.
Yeah.
What about you, Giles? What was that one moment that changed everything for you in your business?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly in being a handyman, it was this sudden aha moment of realising that not everyone knows what a handyman does.
Oh.
And it took me, I don't know, I'm not a very fast learner. It took me 2 years to work that out. And I think I probably had that epiphany in the last year because it's, you quite often go to see a client and they say, oh, what do you do? What other things can you do? And you sort of explain it. And then the next go, and you're there to fix a gate or something. They say, oh, do you do X, Y, Z? Oh, yes, of course I do. And I don't know how many hundreds of times someone said that to me. And I suddenly realised, oh, people don't understand that we can do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, now I've started to go into my quotes with a list of the things that we do on a little flyer. And, and so just I'm going to have a look at this for you, have a look at that, let me know if there's anything else we can help you with. And you wouldn't believe the number of people that go, I didn't know you guys did this. Can you help? Come and have a look at this.
Yeah.
And immediately one job turns into 2 jobs, turns into more things around the house. And that's perfect for us because, Jim's completely 100% right. There's no job too small, and there genuinely isn't. Certainly it's more economically viable for the customer if you can fix 5 or 6 things while you're there for half a day. So it definitely... that sudden realization that I know what I do, but nobody else knows what I do is, when I want to say I mean we, as handymen, the breadth of things that we can take care of is really hard to explain. And so giving the people the opportunity to understand that while you're on site is fantastic.
Yeah. I don't think people realize just how much stuff handymen have to know. It's crazy, isn't it? It's not like a plumbing trade where there's certain things you got to know, but handyman, you've got to know everything, right? From everything to everything.
And what that means is, let's take the classic plumber example for a minute, right? I mean, and not disparaging plumbers, they're very, very good, but
very, very good.
They do a discrete set of things over and over, right? So they become very, very good at those things, no question. They've got a set of tools that they need for that.
Yeah.
Now you imagine spreading that across tiling, glazing, carpentry, carpet laying, fencing, plastering,
Grouting.
painting,
right, painting, all those things, and all the tools that you have to have, you invest in.
jackhammering.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things that we have to have tools for. We need to learn how to use those tools properly. We need to understand how different types of tiles need to be laid. You name it. That the breadth of knowledge that we pick up is enormous, and there's value attached to that for sure.
Yeah.
Big value.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of an odd question. Do you ever feel self-conscious going into people's homes? Do you feel, because you're actually working in their homes often while they're there?
I did when I first started, because it's that whole mental thing. Oh my God, I'm here and they're going to pay me money to do this.
Well, the other thing is I need to go to the toilet. Where's the bathroom? Sort of thing.
I tell all my guys, do not go to
Ever.
the toilet. Maybe number one, but number two, go to
Number
go to the
3 is a
survey.
write out.
I mean, the reason I'm asking is because I've got a handyman in my house at the moment, and under normal circumstances, I'd feel odd because I know Hayden, who's doing the job anyway. I don't actually feel self-conscious around him, and I don't think he does around us. But if it was somebody I really didn't know, I'd feel, I don't know, almost like I'd have to go out for the day or something. But yes, I thought I'd ask from the other side how you guys, you just got used to it, I suppose.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
used to it. Yeah.
Pretty much used to it. I mean, the whole toilet thing can be a challenge at times. I mean, when you got to go, right? But it's not something that it really worries us. We're sort of all big grown-ups.
I think I really enjoy meeting people as well. So it's about building that rapport with customers, and it's amazing. Even if the dog comes up and you're patting the dog and you chat and like, oh, this is a beautiful place, or you build that rapport with customers, and I find I'm very good at that, and then you build that easy relationship straight away.
Yeah.
Do people often offer you coffee and tea?
Regularly, yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't offer anybody coffee or tea.
You better do that tomorrow.
What kind of customer are you, Kay?
Yeah.
Complain a lot and you don't offer
Not
it.
even no Tim Tams, nothing.
I never accept it.
Really?
Oh, you
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my thing.
There you go.
Never accept it.
Okay.
I always accept it.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Once I said to this lady, she goes, "Oh, you want a cup of tea?" And I just put the kettle on. I said, "Oh, I'd love a cup of tea." She brings out all these cookies and all this stuff. The milkiest tea you've ever seen, and I don't like milk and tea. So.
Oh yeah.
But she sat there and watched me drink it.
See, I think what you do is you look to see
It
if
was
they've got.
lukewarm as well.
Yeah, you
See if
look,
they've got a
you
pot
look to see if
plant.
they've got a pot plant, so you chuck it in when they're not watching. Yeah.
What's that over there?
Sorry. Anyway, I
But
digress.
the cookies were good.
The cookies were good. Didn't you have a special thing where they used to say, "Do you want a cup of tea?" You used to go like,
Yeah.
"I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm very fussy."
No, I'm very fussy with my tea. Oh, are you? And then we have a bit of a banter thing going on. I said, it's strong black tea, no milk.
No sugar.
And I'm a big fan of the cookies.
No wonder you can't lose weight, Jim. Oh God!
Well, you were telling me it
you're
was
like a Labrador. Everybody's feeding you.
You were telling me the other day he went through Macca's at the drive-through, right? Because she was telling the story about the AI person at the Macca's
At the
drive-through.
Macca's, yeah, you were telling me that at the
that's
AI person.
Hungry Jack.
Oh, was that?
Oh, was
Hungry
it?
Jack?
Sorry.
Sorry.
AI.
They serve
But
you.
that's Friday. I take my lunch Monday to Thursday. Fridays, I call it Fat Friday. So I just eat whatever I want.
Was that the day where I caught you eating chips in your van? And you said, "Don't tell Crystal."
Now you're telling the whole of the Northern Beaches.
Yes.
No, you heard it
That's
here
funny.
first.
So, if you were to start again, to say you lost everything and you had to start again, what would you do first?
In the same business or
Or it could be another business. What would you do? So, if you lost everything and you were to start again, what would you do first?
I like what Giles said. I would find something that I really like doing
Yeah.
and then base it around that.
And what would that be?
Playing golf, going surfing. No, I would.
Playing guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to research it.
handyman?
Yeah, research it. I'm very good at quoting, so maybe quoting for another Hire A Hubby or a business or something like that. I don't know, but just stick to what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Yeah. someone would come out, you know.
Yeah. What would you do, Giles?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if I lost absolutely everything, I think probably a franchise is a great way to start because you've got so much support in a franchise generally. You don't have to worry about the branding, you have to worry about the website, you have to worry about any of those things. So it means you can get on with the business of making money and running a business so much quicker.
Yeah.
So that's that's the first thing. And I think, having started up several businesses from scratch before this, taking on a business that has existing customers, oh my goodness, that is so much easier than starting from nothing.
I bet.
So much. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
So, and not just that, but obviously having the brand name, right? I mean, the Hire A Hubby is nationally recognised. You can't.
You can't do that. It takes years and years for you to get that.
Years and years. So that would be the, take the short route. If you're in a career that you just don't like and you're thinking of starting a business or becoming a business owner, definitely take that advice on because it's starting something for yourself from nothing is very very hard.
Yeah, take that. I know that much. Giles, how did you, with that children's book, you wouldn't go back to writing another child's book?
Oh, maybe one day. It was a lot of fun.
Was it?
I wasn't very good at it, but the illustrator was amazing and she was so much fun to work with. So it was definitely a passion project.
Yeah, that's cute.
How did you move from the UK to here? What prompted that?
I was going to say I got on a plane. What do you mean?
Well,
I wasn't a £1 pom that came over.
It was the weather, probably.
How did I? Oh, to be honest, okay, all right. So the
I know we're going backwards a bit here, but
no,
I'm
that's all right.
interested.
The story was back in the UK. I was a passionate rugby supporter.
Oh, okay.
And I've moved to London. I didn't know anybody in London, so I just started going to pubs to watch rugby games and meeting people. And it just so happens that a group of very friendly Australians took me under their wing as their pet pom in one of the pubs in London when we were watching a England-Australia rugby match, and it came still friends to this day, and they've all moved back here since.
Okay.
And they were just telling me how great Sydney was, and it rained for 742 days in a row or something in England. I got fed up with it and said, right, let's go. Let's pack everything up and give this a crack for a year.
Okay. Can you give us that Cornish accent again?
All right, I can. If you really want to, I can. But it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
It is rather, yes.
It's been a while.
Been a while. All right, okay. Well, let's bring this thing into land. So what's the last question you want?
The last question. What's the one thing that most people in your industry get wrong? We might have sort of covered topics around that, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole they don't realise what we can do, what we can and can't do. I feel we're like a bit of a one-stop shop. So once you train up your customers and let them know what you can and can't do, and I always say, if I can't do it, we definitely will know someone that can. So it's a great feeling for our customers that when they contact us, they'll definitely get some sort of result from it, even though we might not do it, but we will educate them along the way. So.
Yeah. I'm going to ask Giles a different question. What systems, habits or routines have had the biggest impact on your success? So what systems, habits or routines have had the biggest impact on your success?
Wow. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is, isn't it, really? Oh.
Systems, I don't know if there are any particular systems, like IT systems, if that's what you mean. Habits, I think.
Well, what do you use at the moment to capture all your work and everything? So that's...
Oh, well, we use a Hire A Hubby
Salesforce
thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which I'm not sure is necessarily the key to my success, if I'm honest.
So habits, maybe.
Habits, yeah. Look, a couple of things sort of stick out at me. The first one is I've taken up over the past sort of 6 months to switching my day around, because I always used to work all day and then come home and do quotes in the evening. I hated it because that's time I get to spend with my family, and I'm also usually tired at that point, having worked all day. So trying to get away from the tools and then having to sit at a computer for however many hours it's just taking longer than it should have done. So I've started just recently swapping my day around and getting up earlier and doing my quoting first thing in the morning. And I'm finding that I'm just really enjoying that actually a lot more. And then I leave for the day knowing that I've got all the things out of the way that I needed to do, and then I can focus on the work better. And then I've got my time free in the evenings to relax, to recuperate, and most importantly, spend time with loved ones.
Yeah.
I think that's a key thing. That's just recently.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good.
That's really smart. What about you, Jim? Is there any particular habit or for your success?
I feel with us is with the guys, when we quote a job, the guys need to know how much we've quoted time wise and how much materials. They know exactly what we need to do the job. So I feel without that, they're running blind, and then they just turn up to buy all this stuff to do the job. And I said, mate, I've only quoted $300 worth of materials. Meanwhile, they're buying drop sheets, rollers, all this stuff, and then that blows out the job. So I think making it super easy for the guys to know what quoted hours, what materials, and a load of information with photos. It just makes their day, and if I can make their day easier, it's a good result for us. So we don't want them sort of trying to work it out themselves. So, and the more information for the staff, it just you get less calls, and they do it within the quoted time.
It's a great idea. I don't think I've ever heard that before, and I bet there's a lot of people, handymen or whatever trades, don't do that. Don't even consider doing that. No. But it's a great tip. Yeah.
And is there, Giles, for us to finish it off, is there any tip you'd like to give any business owners that might be listening? What's the one little gem or little nugget that you'd like to leave them with? And you too, Jim, you'll be answering this.
Okay. Yeah, look, I think we all take on a business because we think it's going to give us freedom. And it does. Freedom to work as often as you possibly can. And the thing is that can really take over, right? Yeah. And you think it's okay because I'm just in this phase. I've just got to do this and grow this business.
Yeah.
And you get focused and you get obsessed because it becomes your whole world. It's very easy to then lose sight of the people in your life that you love the most, and give your best to your customers, give your best to your business, and then come in the door at night exhausted and grumpy. If you had a bad day, be grumpy at home. Years and years ago, back when I was in a corporate world, I got really inspired by this totally zen person that was in at the sea level with us, who I just said to him, "How are you so calm all the time?" And he said, "Well, what I do, here's my trick. When I have had a bad day or even a good day, I get into my car, and before I leave the car park, I change my clothes." I'm like, "Really?" Yep. I put on a t-shirt, and then I drive home, and I use that time to decompress my day. And then I get home, and I get to the front door, and I take a big breath, and I'm on family mode. And he said that's really centered me and has enabled me to, keep even though the two things have a danger of blending in all the time, and work will take over if you let it. But you got to remember that your family are the ones that you're really doing all this for. Yeah. And that changed a lot for me. And so even to this day, when I walk up those stairs, that is my mental trigger to change from being work mode to family mode. And particularly, and it's so important when you've had a tricky day, when things haven't gone the way you thought, or something's happened, or, whatever. Because it's so easy to walk in with a scowl on your face. But people inside the house don't care about that stuff.
No.
Anyway.
That's great. I love that.
That's a good one.
I always, just to add to that, when I walk through, that's why I need an office. I can't do work from home. And when I open that front door, it's like I take off a jacket and I leave the work jacket on the so-called hanger. And then when I go out in the morning, it's like I pick it up again, and then I'm in work mode. Yeah. And that's kind of how I can switch off. I think it's just, I need that sort of visualization as well. Yeah. It's really interesting. What about you, Jimmy?
Right, yeah, it's a hard one.
So
that was a hard one to beat.
Hard one to beat, yeah.
I feel for me is to know when to put your first staff member on, especially the people out there there's a lot, even in our industry, they'll say, oh, no one can do it as good as me. No one can do it as good as me. So they don't hire anyone. So they want to quote it, do the job. Eventually, if you are doing a good job, you'll burn out big time because you're doing everything. You're wearing all the hats. So I feel if anyone's listening out there, they're just doing, no one's as good as me. There is actually people better than you. So I've found that there's guys that I've got now that I'm thinking, well, I can't do what they're doing, but they're doing a great job. So, but it's then all of a sudden you're off the tools and you're doing all the stuff that generates work, you know. So it's knowing when to let go, because if you just want to stay the only person in the business, you will burn out big time.
And also you limit your income too, because it's only you then, right?
Yeah.
As well. Well, Kay, any lasting thoughts before we...
Getting people on and off the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Life's a journey.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming in. It's been absolutely wonderful.
And this is Kay and Crystal, Small Business Sorted.
Thank you.
All right.